Hello, everybody. This is Joe at New Silver Lending. I wanted to thank everybody for joining us today for another webinar presented by New Silver. As I mentioned, my name's Joe DeSalvo, and I'm a senior loan advisor here at New Silver. And for those on the webinar that aren't aware, New Silver is a tech-enabled private lender that primarily focuses on single and multifamily value add rehab loans for 1 to 4 unit properties in 40 states across the US. Today, we're really excited to be joined by Alex Martinez of realestateskills.com. He's the CEO and founder of the company, and he helps investors grow their real estate wholesale and flipping businesses. Really happy to have you on today, Alex. Thanks for joining.
Yeah, Joe, thanks for having me. I'm excited to be here and help the New Silver community get more deals. It's what I love doing.
Yes, as are we. We're honored to have you on. As we alluded to here in the title of the webinar, Alex is going to be showing us in the next half hour or so the top 3 ways to find profitable flip opportunities in today's market using his MLS offer system strategy. So without further ado, I'll let you take it away from here, Alex.
Okay, cool. Perfect. All right. Well, good morning, everyone. Happy to be here with you. Like Joe mentioned, I'm the CEO and founder of Real Estate Skills, and we help people to build and grow wholesaling and flipping businesses that are actually profitable. One thing we specialize in, have been specializing in for over a decade, is the ability and helping you consistently acquire deals, fix and flip deals primarily with $0 in marketing. So I'll be covering that today. And a lot of people come to work with us because they may be an advanced investor paying $3,000-$5,000 in marketing to acquire a deal. Some people are beginners that don't want to spend $3,000 or $5,000 to acquire a fix and flip deal. And I got my start in wholesaling and flipping houses consistently through focusing on the market. My first year alone did over 50 wholesales and flips, over 1.2 million in profit. And it really happened from going all in on the MLS. So it's still today our #1 acquisition deal source. And so today I'm going to be taking a deep dive into it. I think with the MLS, what I've seen through educating people on this and helping a lot of businesses consistently get deal flow from the MLS with agents, there's a lot of limiting beliefs. There's a lot of hearsay about it. And so I'm really excited at the end. I'll answer your questions, any questions that you have. I'll be able to dive into it. So let's go ahead. Let's get started. So I'm in San Diego right now. So Roland, I see you're in Carlsbad over here. You're not too far away, but we've done deals all over the nation. So this isn't specific to one specific state. Here's just an example of nationwide fix and flips that we've been able to do. And then I just went into my community real quick and pulled some fix and flips across the nation that our students are doing from the MLS. Basically every single week we're acquiring fix and flip deals like this. We got Georgia, Florida, Massachusetts, New Hampshire, Arizona, and then here's a student of mine that was just in the office this last week in California acquiring fix and flip deals. So today I want to cover this MLS offer system as an overview at a high level so we understand what the heck we're talking about, how it works. Then I'll cover the top 3 ways to find profitable flips in 2025 using the MLS offer system. I'll cover some principles as well that make this actually work, from doing hundreds of deals, what you need to actually buy to give you the highest likelihood of making this work. And then of course you say at the end, I got a free gift, something I've never given away that will help you acquire more deals from the MLS as well. All right, so let's cover the MLS offer system overview. So what is the MLS first off, right? It's #1, it's the largest marketplace of houses in the United States, right? It's where all on-market properties are listed, and it's created and maintained and paid for by real estate professionals. Now, according to the National Association of Realtors, over the last 5 years, it ranges from 86 to 92% of all single-family residential transactions happen on the MLS or with a real estate agent. And when we want to be investors, fix and flippers, or wholesalers, we want to acquire these deals. I think there's a lot of talk about off-market deals. Yes, off-market works, off-market strategies work, but it's literally about 10% of where all the transactions happen, right? So when I started investigating the MLS and starting on the MLS, I wanted to start where the largest pool of properties were. because every single day, the reality is there are distressed houses listed on the MLS as well. And they're going to go to investor. They need to go all cash. Someone is either going to get this property under contract as a fix and flip or a wholesaler. So why not you? Every single day, there's hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of transactions happening on the MLS. And so it's my goal here today to share some aha moments so you can just start acquiring one a month without having to spend any money in marketing, possibly two a month. And maybe you're a busy business owner as well. This is something that I've seen the busiest business owners be able themselves acquire one deal a month from doing this. And or if you actually have a company with employees, you can delegate this to someone acquisitions. That particular person should be able to acquire at least 3 to 5 deals a month from what I'm about to cover today from the MLS. So essentially, in a nutshell, right, when a house gets listed on the MLS, what happens? Well, a home seller raises their hand and says, hey, I need to sell my house, right? So right now, this property is off the market before it's on the market. That seller then contacts the listing agent. That listing agent agrees to sell their house. Now that house is on the market, but it was an off-market distressed house that everyone wants. It's just now on the market. That's the only difference. And every single day, we got to understand that real estate agents, they're doing marketing as well. They're doing door knocking. They're putting out the door mailers or the door hangers. They have brokerages paying for marketing, funneling them leads. They're doing all the marketing that also real estate investors, fix and flippers are paying 30, 50 grand a month in marketing. They're doing the same darn marketing. And if they list a distressed house on the MLS, that was a lead that you could have got. So that's the way that I look at this. And I want you to look at this. It's still, whether it's off the market or on the market, it's still a high quality lead for your business that you can fix and flip. And once you start to understand this, understand that every single day there are leads listed to the MLS, put on every single day. It's like a revolving door of leads. Because if you're actually running a real estate investing business, let's just say you're doing PPC, for example, pay-per-click advertising on Google, the literal lead cost for you just to get a lead, someone to inquire, can be $200, right? It literally can. It can be $200. And you can use the MLS and find 10 distressed leads on a daily basis. And that would have been $2,000 in paid marketing costs. Across a month, that would have been $60,000 in paid advertising you would have needed to spend in order just to acquire these leads. So this is huge for offsetting your paid advertising costs. Now, what it does fundamentally as well, right? A lot of people, a lot of investors are thinking, hey, I need to generate more leads. I have to generate more leads. I need to generate more leads. When you utilize the MLS, a software, a database of all leads on the market, it solves that problem for you, the lead generation problem. And now you can focus on the most important thing, which is actually submitting offers. Because you can generate 1,000 leads, guys, but if you don't submit any offers, you're not going to get any deals. And when I say offers, I mean written contracts that you send to an agent. And then the only thing that needs to happen for you to put a property under contract for your business, get a fix and flip deal, the only thing that needs to happen once you send a contract in is for the seller to sign the contract. And now you have that property under contract, right? And so that's the importance of the MLS. You solve your lead problem immediately and can focus on submitting offers and building relationships with agents. And that's going to lead to deals. All right, so I'm going to cover the MLS offer system in a nutshell. I'm going to break down each step so we understand it at a high level, and then we'll go into the top 3 strategies, okay? So number 1, the most important step is the leads, right? So what do we do in step 1? So when you have access to the MLS data, and let me dispel some limiting beliefs right now. If you want to be a serious investor, I really recommend getting access to the MLS. It's not really a roadblock. It's not too hard to get. You can get licensed, and then you get access to the MLS. There's things called assistant access, clerical access, admin access. There's different ways to get it as an unlicensed individual as well, right? A lot of MLSs have that access. And just to be frank and 100% honest, a lot of people just use a real estate agent's or broker's login as well to then have access to all of the properties on the market. So what we do on a daily basis, we focus on the whole county, usually your county or surrounding counties, and we're going to find the distressed leads. And I'll give one example. In the last 24 hours, what came on the market and what properties actually look distressed? Are there any key words in the title that says it's going to go all cash? Because the most important thing where people go wrong in the MLS is they are pursuing properties that are not fix and flippable. They're pursuing properties that someone can go in here and a normal buyer can use a conventional mortgage to buy this property, and now you're competing with a conventional buyer. That conventional buyer is going to be emotional. They're going to overpay for this 3-bed, 2-bath property because they're about to have a baby. They could see their whole entire family growing up there, and you do not want to compete with a conventional buyer who's going to be emotional and irrational in their price and really inflate that price. We want to pursue properties that are actually in a distressed condition. And then additionally, where the seller's in a distressed situation, they're right there underneath your nose on the MLS. Those are the leads that we pursue. So step one is getting the right leads from the MLS, because if you get the wrong leads, you go through all these steps, you'll be right back at step one, with no deals. So this is the most important step as we go through here. Now, once we find the distressed leads on the market, the number one most important thing that you want to do is first, if you find 10 new distressed leads, sort them from 1 to 10 of the ones that look the most distressed, right? The ones just from your observation look like, okay, this is probably going to be a property that needs to be fixed and flipped, to the ones that you have questions about. Maybe there's listings that have no photos on the MLS, but it still seems like it can be distressed. The ones that you have questions about, put those at the end, because some of my best deals too have been from the MLS. They don't have any photos, but I called the agent and inquired about it. But now we make a phone call to the agent. I call this a discovery call. What we need to understand is that real estate agents are incentivized as you to close the deal. Real estate agents don't get paid unless the deal is closed. So they want the deal closed. And if we're pursuing a property that's going to be an all cash transaction, it's going to go to an investor. So we need to dispel any beliefs that these are cold calls. These aren't cold calls, right? Essentially, a real estate agent is paid to pick up random phone numbers, right? That's their freaking job. So these aren't cold calls. They're expecting phone calls. They're expecting to have conversations. And so I call this a discovery call, because on this first call, we're focusing on building a relationship. We're focusing on incentivizing the real estate agent. This is one of the most important thing. I don't want us to get twisted. This is sales, right? If you're a business owner, sales is one of the most important skills. We are selling the agent why they want to work with us. We're selling the agent why we're the best option for them, right? And one easy way is to say there's a lot of tire kickers out there. There's a lot of people that are going to waste your time, put this property under contract at way too high of a price. And guess what? At the nth hour, they're going to ask for a price reduction. And then you're going to be forced with your hands behind your back, and they're going to put you in a really bad situation. What I'll do is I'll come in here with a no nonsense, genuine offer that we can stick to. I'll work with you. I'll work with the seller, and I'll make sure that this is a smooth and clean escrow. Right? Just simple things like that, where you can paint the picture that you actually know what you're doing, can be the difference maker between you getting a deal and not, right? So little things like this move the needle and allow us to get these deals under contract. But essentially, if we have these 10 leads, we're discovering, is this a real deal, right? Do the photos on the MLS, do my assumptions of this is a distressed property, is this agent telling me that it's going to go all cash? So we can ask those explicit questions to the agent. Is the seller in a distressed situation? Now, a lot of the times, the agent's not going to put the distressed situation of the seller on the MLS. But if we see a dilapidated house, usually there's some distressed situation going on. So we can actually ask the listing agent, what's the seller's reason for selling? Right? And we can start to understand what type of distress situation they're in. Maybe they're facing foreclosure, right? We need to stop a foreclosure sale. Well, that's going to be a tight timeline. Like, that's a big incentive for someone to sell their property pretty darn quickly. Now we can sell the agent that, hey, we can close in 7 days, 14 days, whatever you need. And if you're smart and line up your financing with New Silver, then you can close in timeframes such as those. Now, we're figuring out how good of a deal is this really? Is the seller motivated? And does the listing agent want to work with you? Right? Because at the end of the day, people work with who they like and trust. So all these things dictate the quality of this call. All right. So we do these calls first. I want to do this call first. Let's say my first call goes well. I'm not going to spend time calling on the other 9 deals now. I have a hot lead on my hand. Within 30 minutes, it's 8:30 a.m. now. I was the first one to call the agents. What I'm going to do is now further analyze the property. And this has always been a 2-call close process primarily, because what most beginners are going to do are fumble through their words on this call. They're going to give an offer or try to give an offer to this agent that they cannot stick to, right? A lot of the times, or they're going to use a very rudimentary rule or severely severely underbid themselves, throw out an offer that isn't unrealistic, right? I want to submit realistic offers out there. And if you're here, right, you might know about the 70% rule, right? The maximum allowable offer rule, right? A lot of people use that. So what that is, 70% of the ARV minus repairs, that's your offer price. And to be frank, anyone should do that deal if you acquire a deal at that price. But a lot of these deals go at 80% of the ARV minus repairs and are still phenomenal deals. So where most people use a simple paper napkin math rule to be able to submit an offer or like try and get out an offer on this first call, we don't. We always have this phone conversation saying, great, thank you so much. I'm going to take this information. I'm going to be with my team and let you know exactly where we need to come in at to make this property work, right? That's what professionals do, because the last thing you want to do is waste this agent's time. But also, when you only analyze a property, guys, after you call the agent and verify this is a lead, you're not wasting your time analyzing properties, spending 10 hours analyzing those 10 properties. You're only analyzing the ones that you've already had a call with the agent on, right? This little step right here, analyzing the property after making a discovery call, is so vital, right? How many of us have wasted our time analyzing properties that then you call an agent or it just doesn't pan out, right? Or there's no likelihood, or you're analyzing a property before you even know that the seller is motivated, right? I've done that a lot. So we always analyze the property. Now we get our ARV. Now we're really looking at the comps. Now we're really investigating the repairs. Now we're doing what we need to. And then we're plugging into our deal calculator or deal analyzer to find, hey, what are the price points we need to come in at, or the price point, so it's a profitable deal for your fix and flip company, right? Essentially, we reverse engineer the deal to know exactly where we need to come in at to make this property work. So now when we do that, we're very efficient with our time. And so imagine it's 8:30 a.m., spent 30 minutes analyzing it, called the agent back at 9 a.m. Now you can give them a no-nonsense genuine offer that you can stick to, right? This is what agents want. A lot of people jerk their chains. A lot of people don't know what they're doing. And you don't want to be that person. Because there's another stat from the National Association of Realtors is that most home sellers are willing to work with their agent. 70% of them are willing to work with their agent and refer that agent. So if a real estate agent is listing a distressed property today, there's a very high chance tomorrow they're going to list a distressed property, because that agent was doing some sort of marketing to find these distressed properties. And typically, if someone's in a distressed situation, like birds of a feather flock together, right? So if this person lost their job and company's doing layoffs and needs to sell their property quickly and move out of state, they probably know some other people in that same exact situation. And who's that person going to refer? Well, the statistics show that 70% of those people are willing to refer that listing agent that they worked with. So this is how one deal, closing one transaction, doing what you say you're going to do, performing and closing on a smooth escrow with an agent will lead to more deals. We see it all the time. So now we've analyzed the property. You know your numbers, you're a pro. Now we do a close call. Now we call back the agent and we communicate to the agent where we need to offer to make this price work, okay? And we tell them our offer terms, right? If you're a fix and flipper, kind of normal starting terms are 7-day inspection, 14-day close. You might need to adjust those for your particular market or the terms if there's competition on here. But essentially, this close call, we state where we need to come in at, right? And at this point, this is still sales, right? I've had a lot of agents throughout the years say, Alex, that offer's too low. That's not going to work. What do I say? I say, hey, an offer is better than no offer, right? Let's just get it in and see what happens. I'm willing to work with you and the seller. And there's over 1 million real estate agents in the US. Not all of them are fantastic. And agents are going to tell you that even when they have no offers on the table. And it's the fiduciary duty of agents to field every single offer, right? So just nudge them a little bit and then you can get an offer in. And I can't tell you how many agents say, have told me, my students, my clients, hey, Alex, I thought that this offer wasn't going to work. You told me so. Because most listing agents' heads are in the clouds. Most listing agents, they're not the highest educated people. They're professionals at all of these numbers, that they're professionals at listing the exact price where it needed to be at. They would probably be in your position and be fix and flippers and be real estate investors because they can make a higher income. All right. So we talk with the agent about our offer price. We incentivize the agent by asking them to represent us. What does that do? That allows this listing agent to make twice as much commission. So incentives are big in every type of business, guys. You can incentivize this agent to represent you. They'll make twice as much money. That is huge, right? Incentives make the world go round. Another thing that we do, if you're fixing and flipping this property, I've even incentivized agents saying, hey, if we're able to get this property as well, I'll have you list it once I fix it up. All right. So now if there's two offers at the same price and an agent's going to make twice as much money working with you because they're representing you as a buyer, whose offer do you think they're going to accept? Yours. If there's two offers at the same price and your offer, they're going to make two commissions, a listing agent commission, buyer's commission, and a listing commission once the property's fixed up versus someone who's only incentivized with two commissions, whose offer are they going to take? They're going to take yours, right? And this is how we can start to actually increase the likelihood of us being able to get deals under contract and have agents eager and salivating to work with you, because if they go with your offer, they are literally going to make the most money. Once again, incentives make the world go round. So if you're having conversations like that every single day where someone chooses to work with you, they like you, they trust you, you're on point, you do what you say you're going to do, plus they're going to make the most money with you. What offer do you think they should go with? Who should they work with? Probably you. And when you do this on a daily basis, this begins to stack and you're going to start to get deals. Now, the next step in the process, right? Once the agent says, okay, yeah, I'll go ahead, I'll write up this offer, send the offer terms via email to the agent. So everything you want in there, right? Purchaser name, the purchase price, closing time frame, EMD amount, proof of funds, right? You want your proof of funds, articles of incorporation. We send that to the agent. So the differing thing from off-market deals, you're going to bring your own contract to the table and sign it with the seller. When we deal in the MLS, the agent writes up the contract. So we send the offer terms to the agent. They write the contract. They send it back to us via email. Once they send it back to us via email, make sure everything's good, make sure the right zeros are there, sign that contract, and then send it back to them. All right. This is the most important KPI in your business. Like I mentioned earlier, you can generate 1,000 leads. If you don't submit any actual written offers, you'll get no deals. But we can start to track the amount of written offers that you actually send with listing agents. You're going to be able to see that, it might take me 1 in 5, 1 in 9. Generally, if someone's starting out, they're new to this process, they stink, to be quite frank. 1 in 15 offers. Once you get better, 1 in 10, 1 in 9, 1 in 8 offers you send, you can actually start to track it and then begin to set daily offer goals, weekly offer goals, monthly offer goals, and then have a consistent business from the MLS. Now, the next step, 6B, right? Not everything is smooth every single time. You may have to negotiate. You may have to negotiate on price. And when we've incentivized agents the right way, and there's multiple offers on the table now, and the seller plans on reviewing offers, today is Wednesday, they plan on reviewing offers tomorrow at 11 a.m., call that agent at 9 a.m. the next day and say, hey, where do we stand? How's our offer looking? Because now you're on the same side of the negotiating table, you're working with them, right? Do I need to come up in price, find a chance to make this property work? I've had agents tell me I need to come up 1,000, 2,000, 3,000, 5,000, 6,000, 10,000 in price. And that one phone call to them saying, hey, where do we need to come in at to make it work, was the difference maker between getting a deal and not. So we don't leave this up to hope and chance, right? You leave it up to hope and chance, you're going to have an inconsistent business. If you want certainty, you talk to that agent and you get answers, and then you do what they tell you to do, and then we can get these properties under contract. So once we negotiate, we may have counter offers, we may have to adjust terms. You might have to do a bill of sale, buy the furniture in the property so that the seller walks away with more money, right? There's a lot of different ways to close these deals. You might have to do a lease back to the seller because they got to sell this property first, and you got to lease back the property for 30 days. A lot of things here now from talking to the agent where you can be accommodating and the easiest person to work with. You could have the best price, be the most accommodating to work with. The seller loves you, the agent loves you, everything works. These are the types of people that agents and sellers want to work with. Now, if you're wholesaling, right, you can now wholesale this deal. You have the property under contract, it's executed, right? At this point, you've sent the contract back to the listing agent, the seller has signed it, we have an executed contract, all your timelines kick in, right? As a fix and flipper, we do our due diligence, we get our project manager out there, if you do a property inspection, if we need an appraisal, whatever the heck needs to happen for us to get the right financing, for us to do all the double checks for our business, we do that during our inspection time period, right? From there, we're able to close the deal, right? We're able to close the deal, and now you have a listing agent who's most likely eager to work with you on the next distressed listing. Because if you provide a smooth escrow, why wouldn't they want to work with you on the next listing? And you tell them, hey, let me know when the next deal's coming up, or if you know of any right now that are off the market that we can work on together. If you don't want to put it on the market, I'll be sure to compensate you, make sure you get your commissions, and we don't even need to put it on the market, right? Because now you're someone that they trust, right? So in a nutshell, right, when I train companies and clients on this, we obviously go much deeper, but I wanted to share the process, right? The steps, the systems, and it's kind of like if you do one step wrong, like if we start analyzing all these properties before making any calls, you're wasting your time. And when I tell you my number one strategy real quick that works, it's even more important that we don't analyze every single property before we make a phone call, because speed is the name of the game here. Okay. Right. If we're giving on the first call to an agent, we're getting offers that you haven't analyzed the property on. We're giving offers that we have to backtrack. And this is now the second phone call or your first introduction to an agent. What does that create? It creates dings in your armor. It creates distrust, right? You want to be the person that can actually create trust with the agent, do everything that they say they're going to do, and not be the person backtracking from the first or second interaction with an agent. So let's get into why we're all here. The top 3 ways to find profitable flips in 2025. All right. Now, this first strategy alone that I'll cover, it's the new listings strategy. I call it day 0. If there's one thing you take away from this presentation, this one strategy brings in 80% of my deals, my student deals. So it's that important. You don't even want to do the other methods until you exhaust this in your area. That's how vital this is and how important this one particular strategy is. Okay. So what the day 0 strategy is, right? It's not the day 1, not the day 2 strategy, is that we find and filter through the most recently uploaded active listings to find new distressed leads. And our goal, right? Your goal is this. Doesn't always happen, but your goal is to be the first investor buyer to speak with the listing agent and the first offer made on the property. So speed and efficiency is the name of the game here. And we call this the day 0 method to really emphasize the importance of calling on newly uploaded listings as soon as possible. My goal isn't to call a new listing 24 or 48 hours after it's been listed. I want to call them the same day it's been listed. I want to call that agent. I want to be the first one to call that agent, because when we're the first investor buyer to speak with the listing agent and the first offer made on the property, we have the highest chance of getting the property under contract and wholesaling it and or fixing and flipping it, of actually getting under contract as a fix and flip deal, opposed to another investor buyer who calls 5 days later after the property has been listed, right? There's a half-life, like these deals, the 80-20 rule, we need to call as soon as possible. And being number 2 is better than being number 10. Calling within 2 or 3 hours is better than calling 25 hours. That speed is going to increase the likelihood of you being able to get this deal under contract. And now when we're the first person to make a discovery call to a distressed lead, we have the best chance of actually incentivizing the listing agent and getting the deal under contract, because you have no competition at this point. And by being the first to call, we implicitly show the agent we're sharp professionals who mean business, right? You're on top of it. You're on top of your game, right? Some of the best businesses in the world have something called speed to lead. The best businesses in the world, when a new lead comes into their business, a 60-second speed to lead of someone outreaching them, once that lead comes in, has a 400% increase in their business. So we can take these business principles and you start to understand, man, if I can be on these leads every single day, increases the likelihood of me being able to get this property under contract. And we've seen this all the time. I mean, these are distressed properties. The seller and agent can accept your offer immediately the same day or relatively soon, the next day or 2 or 3 or 4 days. And also, when you're the first one to call and incentivize the agent the right way, we've literally had agents say they're not going to be taking any more phone calls on this property because we had such a great discovery call with them, because they want our offer to be accepted. Because how many of us have called real estate agents that don't pick up? Maybe they have a sweet offer on their hands they're going to make a lot of freaking money on, and they don't want to field all these other calls. And you said everything that they wanted to and gave them a reasonable offer that works for them. They're not going to make their life harder. You're making their life easier. They're just going to work with you. That's part of the importance of this. Now, how we do this, so on the MLS, the multiple listing service, I love the MLS. They all have the search functions, the abilities to comp very easily. And we find today's new active properties that were uploaded to the MLS. And if there are no distressed leads, then just keep going back to the previous day until you're able to find new distressed leads to filter through. But look at it as like you're looking in a 24-hour window, right? If I wake up at 8 a.m. and I didn't look at any properties after 5 p.m. yesterday, I'm looking at all the new properties that were listed from 5 p.m. yesterday to 8 a.m. today. So if today is Friday, August 14th, then search for the new properties, upload to the MLS, for August 14th. If no distressed properties are uploaded to the MLS for August 14th, go back as well. But typically, if we're looking in our county and or surrounding counties, you're going to find a lot of distressed properties, or several, handful, 5, 10 on a daily basis. All right. Then we look through the new listings and add the distressed leads or the listings with the possibility of being distressed to our CRM. I'm CRM agnostic. I built 7-figure businesses off of Google Sheets alone as my CRM. So maybe using Resimpli, RealFlow. We like to use Streak. It embeds with Gmail. We custom build our CRMs. But the business doesn't work because of the CRM. The business works because of the process. That's the most important thing. All right, now we make discovery calls to the distressed listings, and we repeat this every single darn day. Now remember, speed is the name of the game for this method, and you want to be first. You want to be first. If you just do this one method, for anyone here, pretty much guarantee that you're going to start doing 1, 2, 3 deals a month from the MLS if you do exactly what I'm sharing with you here, and you'll be spending no money in marketing to acquire these leads, to acquire these deals. Now, once you exhaust method 1, only once you exhaust method 1, now we go to old listings, 90 days plus. And I got a little funny image here because what you imagine here is you're the knight in shining armor. You're saving the day. You're being a solutions provider. You're being a problem solver for the listing agent and the seller. So what it is for this method, we find and filter for active distressed leads that have been on the market for 90 days or more that have not been sold yet. And our goal here is to understand why the property hasn't been sold yet and to see if we can be the solution to the seller or agent's problem. Once again, it's your opportunity to be the knight or knightress in shining armor saves the day. So when a property sits on the market for 90 days, why does that happen and why do we do this? Well, usually, like I mentioned, listing agents are not professional list pricers, and the property is priced too high. So the price of the home was too high when it was initially listed on the market, and the seller and agent were not willing to accept lower offers than they wanted, right? The seller's head was in the clouds, and now they need to come to reality. And what makes them come down to reality is time and not getting offers at the price that they want. So if a property's been sitting on the market for 90 days plus and has not sold yet, now after 90 days, the seller may be motivated to take it at a lower price than they originally were asking for. And now it's your opportunity to make a discovery call to the listing agent and get an offer price that works for you. So time can make all deals happen and time can kill all deals. Right? On the first strategy, time kills deals. The longer you wait to reach out to the agent, time can make deals happen. The longer a distressed property sits on the market, the more motivated that seller can be. Now, there can also be property and seller issues, right? So there could have been issues with the property that now have been resolved, or maybe they're still unresolved. So there could be litigation, right? Lawsuits. There could be repairs needing to be done, and the repairs have or haven't been completed. A shaky divorce. They need to wait for things to go through in order to sell the property. Title issues, liens need to be paid off. Maybe I've had this before, the seller's out of the area and very hard to get in contact with, making the property hard to show. And then if the properties have been showed, then if the properties have been solved, you right then and there, you may be able to get your offer in at a price that works for you. If the issues haven't been solved, you may be able to help the seller agent solve their problem, which can make your offer more desirable, right? So how do we do this, right? Well, on the MLS, use the search function to find distressed active properties that have been listed for 90 days plus or more. So we're looking at the first strategy is what are the properties listed within 24 hours, hottest, best distressed leads you could ever ask for in your business. Now we're using time and looking at the 90 days plus leads, right? Older listings. And then we add these ones to our CRM. And you can repeat this every single day, only after you've exhausted the first method. And what's really important to understand here is that the seller's heads may always be in the cloud forever, meaning that they will never get the price that they want and the property will never sell. And in this particular situation, right, there might be a wealthy person that didn't care about this property and it's just on the market and they're very adamant about getting their price. Well, yes, the property may be in a distressed condition, but the seller's got no freaking motivation to sell. So I don't want to focus on that property if they don't have the motivation to sell. I'll focus on the next old property that's in distressed condition where the seller's motivated to sell. Additionally, the listing agent, this is the case a lot of times. The listing agent could be the problem rather than the seller, right? Listing agents are generally incompetent and advise the seller their home is worth X when it's really not. And the agent's ego can be so large, leading them never getting the desired price wanted for the home and the property never being sold, right? This agent can be feeding BS to the seller to where the only way this property is going to be sold is once that listing agreement is canceled and then listed with a new agent. So we have to understand that here on these properties. So like I mentioned, in both these situations, it's better to focus your time, effort, and energy on other leads with a higher chance of working out rather than trying to convince a seller and agent to accept your offer for months. And the point here to remember is there's always a better deal around the corner, right? If you're working for weeks and weeks on a lead, wasting your time, there's another lead on the MLS right now. You can call in 24 hours and probably get in contract 2 days or the next day. You always just got to remember that. Now, we need to remember if there's a problem, understand what the problem is, why it hasn't sold for 90 days plus, and try to be that solutions provider, the problem solver who solves the problem, right? The knight or nitrous in shining armor. Now, my third favorite strategy when it comes to this, only exhaust this after you've exhausted the first two. It's keyword searching. So most people actually default to this. The reason why I don't want you to default to this because most people try and do this, right? They're always looking for shortcuts instead of doing, what I shared has brought in 80% of all our transactions. They'll just skip to this because it's sometimes easier to just type in some keywords and have properties populate than look within the last 24 hours and then make an analysis for yourself of what's actually distressed on the market today. So just go the little extra step and you'll get a lot more deals from the MLS. But what this one is, it's pretty self-explanatory. We use specific keyword searches to find properties. We search for keywords that listing agents type in to the actual description of the property, distress type keywords, and then it populates from our MLS. So on the MLS, like right here, everything that's italicized, these are all distress type keywords that you can actually put into a search filter and then have all those properties pop up. So like cash buyer, cash buyers, deferred maintenance, repairs, handyman special, REO, probate, horrible, dirty, trash, underpriced, DIY, late payments, all these different types of things that you can type in. So I use this. This is something where I'm just cleaning up scraps, right? What is in the cracks between I've exhausted everything within 24 hours, everything 90 days plus, and now I'm agnostic to where the date range is here, right? I might find properties that are 18 days listed on the market, 27, 45, right? I'm filling in the gaps with the keyword searching. And some people default to this, only use this, but it's really important to understand that not all distressed leads, distressed houses on the market have distressed type keywords in here too, or in that description, right? Or in the remarks or confidential remarks. And that's why it's important to never rely on just one method, which I think a lot of people do, and then say, hey, the MLS doesn't work, right? There's a lot of reasons why people, it doesn't work for them, but that's just one reason. But by utilizing multiple methods, like I'm sharing, you're going to be able to get deals under contract that may have slipped through the cracks for other investors here. So I see some questions coming in, guys. I'll try to rifle through some principles real quick, and then we'll get to the questions, okay? So thank you so much. So for the principles on making this all work, right, I gave the high level top 3 strategies. Now, the number one most important thing where people go wrong, the number one principle is to use the MLS to find number 1, houses in a distressed condition, and 2, sellers in a distressed situation. Just do that. Now the whole process works. You have clean data, right? There's accounting term, right? Garbage in, garbage out. The system doesn't work if you put in bad data. So we need good data. Good data are properties in distressed condition and sellers in distressed situation. You start there, this whole thing works. Number 2, ferociously pursue properties with the status of active. Active means that the property is actively for sale right now, right? I've seen people that say, hey, I tried the MLS, it doesn't work. And all they're doing is pursuing pending and contingent properties and trying to have agents go behind their buyer's back and say, hey, I'll come in and give you a better price. And they're putting a bad taste in all the agents' mouths. So what you need to do is ferociously pursue properties with the status of active. You can literally call on these properties, submit an offer, get under contract the same day. Remember, be first, right? It's one of the most important principles. If we have any sports players or wrestlers, or I do jujitsu, right? When I do compete, coaches are saying be first. Like be first shows that you're adamant, be first, show like you're able to get an advantage on any opponent when you're first. You're most likely to win when you're first. So we just want to be first. Remember that. Also, I didn't talk about that much here, but the list price is freaking flexible. A lot of people believe that, hey, property is listed for 250 and I need to offer 250. But let me just show you something that just came to my community a couple hours ago on a deal from the MLS. Here we go. Here's my student Daniel Pyers, guys. This property was listed at $645,000, and he got his offer listed at $500,000, $150,000 below the list price. This is a fix and flipper that we coach and train. So the list price is flexible. We see it all the time. List prices, an agent, 9 times out of 10, a listing agent's going to list it too high. So 9 times out of 10, most likely going to get the property below the list price. But if a listing agent lists at the right price, right, I put properties on contract above the list price and still fix and flip them. But majority of the time, they're going to list it too high, and that list price is flexible. Always focus on relationships over transactions. That one agent you call today, you submit an offer on, it doesn't work, doesn't matter. That agent listed distressed property today. Chances are tomorrow, in a month, 2, 3, 4, 5 months, they're going to list another distressed property. So stay in contact with them. And then written offer sent, right? Not leads is the most important KPI. If you do that in your business, you're going to move the needle for your business. Written offer sent. On the MLS, if you have a daily offer goal of 1 offer a day, you're going to be able to probably get 2 deals a month from doing that, 2 fix and flip deals. And just remember, every no you get closer to a yes. This is very important because when we talk about the most important KPI, on average, right, if you're better at this, it's going to be easier. But on average, every 10 to 15 offers sent leads to 1 fix and flip deal. What does that mean, guys? That means that the majority of deals don't work out. When we do sales, no one has a 100% close rate. Like some of the best close rates in different industries are like 20%, right? So you are going to miss more often than you win. But I want to give you the correct expectations, knowing that, hey, if you take this seriously, you can submit 1 in 5 offers, right? If I lost students, clients, I've been able to do that and get deals consistently under contract. And we break this down for your business. We track the most important KPI. If you want to make $40,000 a month from fixing and flipping from the MLS, you need to submit 15 offers in a month. That's very reasonable. It's 0.5 offers a day. What is that? That's an offer every other day. Anyone here can do that. My 13-year-old niece can do that. I'll tell you. $80,000 a month. That's 2 fix and flip deals with an average fix and flip profit size of 40. That's 1 offer sent a day. It's going to be 30 offers a month, $160,000 a month. It's 2 offers a day, $240,000 a month. That's 3 offers sent a day. So, right, when we use efficiency, see that what I put here, I'm not saying, hey, the number of leads generated, the number of phone calls made. I'm talking about the number of written offers sent. And one more point on written offers, people think that on the MLS, if I leave a voicemail to the agent saying, hey, Vanessa, I'm interested in the property at 170, let me know. They count that as an offer. That's nothing, that's air. When I submit an offer with the agent that I've spoke to at $170,000 and that offer's in their inbox and all the seller needs to sign it, I've now done every single thing in my power as an investor to make it as easy as possible. Now all the seller needs to do is sign the contract. It's your responsibility, if you're a business owner and fix and flipper, to take these deals as far as you can and not just count a verbal offer, a text message, an email with no information or just a price. That is not an offer, right? That's not a legitimate offer. Verbal offers don't move my business. Written offers move the business. That's something we can work with. They can send a counter offer. We can actually make a deal happen, right? Deals don't happen unless they're in writing. That's the most important thing. All right. Last thing, free gift for the community, guys. If this is resonating with you, I've never done this before. So I want to give you the discovery call script. So this is not just some like phony script. This is what we use. It's what we've, well over 100 million in transactions over the last decade across the nation. This initial phone call script to the agent, I want to give it to you guys. So it's the full word by word script, talking to real estate agents like a pro, what to say, how to handle objections and the common questions, as well as the close call script, right? The second call that we make. So how to establish rapport, how to provide the supporting evidence to actually sell your offer price, talking about the offer terms and confirmation, handling objections, successful word tracks, and then handling different questions. All right. So if this resonated with you, if you guys want that script, I'm not sure how much I'll keep it up. Like I mentioned, I'm never giving away both of these. Just go to realestateskills.com/script. You guys can download it for free. And then if you want to go faster, if you guys want help implementing this, you can schedule a free call with my team on the next page, or just go to realestateskills.com/book. And you can hop on a call with my team and I. We can see if the MLS offer system will be the right fit for you and your business. Once again, it's perfect for business owners that want to cut their acquisition costs in half if you're already doing marketing. It's perfect for business owners that want to delegate this to someone acquisitions in their company and want to do 3 to 5 deals a month from the MLS. It's perfect if you're, if you're a fix and flipper part-time and you can't invest in the marketing and field calls during 9 to 5, or take these very valuable leads and phone calls that come in that cost $200, $300, $400, $500, sometimes $1,000, and you want to be able to work at your own schedule where calls cost $0 to make, then this is the right fit for you in that particular situation. So awesome, guys. I hope this helped. Now, Joe, what about some questions? Does that sound good?
Yeah, that sounds great, guys. Yeah, we did have a few questions pop up in the chat during the presentation here. So I think we should have a little bit of time, a couple of minutes to answer a few of those. And if anybody else has some questions as well, I'm going to leave my contact information in the chat. And then Carmel has also shared realestateskills.com, their website, into the chat as well.
Perfect. I'll start going through.
Sure. Perfect.
Sound good?
Perfect.
So how do we get access to the MLS? All right. Well, number one, if you're unlicensed, you can get assistant access to the MLS, clerical access, admin access. Different states, different counties have different access levels. The MLS offer system is not talking to a real estate agent who says, hey, I'm going to put you on an email list and just send you properties. That's not MLS access, when you can actually access the database. You can become licensed as well, to get access to the MLS. A lot of people don't want to get licensed. Honestly, a lot of people just use the real estate agent's access as well. The incentive there for an agent to give you access to the MLS, why would they do that? We say, hey, I'm working 24/7. I'm submitting offers. My main goal is actually to work with listing agents, but sometimes listing agents aren't going to work with me. So in those situations, I'll just let you know where I need to offer, and you can be my buyer's agent. So basically, I'll bring deals to you on a silver platter that you can earn a commission on. So 9 times out of 10, if an agent's worth their salt, they're going to be like, hey, that sounds pretty damn good. Now, all right. In which area does Alex work? So we work with clients all across the United States. I'm specifically located in San Diego and Pacific Beach, actually. But what I'm communicating here, I shared in the beginning, we do fix and flips and deals all over the nation, East Coast, West Coast, Central, everywhere. In the negotiation period, are you seeing the property in person, or is this an offer contingent on the viewing? I'll never myself make an offer contingent on the viewing. It's actually my goal to not view the property in person, because on the MLS, there's generally 25 photos if an agent does their job. And then also we could use Google Maps to do a virtual drive-by, and I can look at the property at an aerial view as well. So the most important thing here is saving our time. That's one thing I didn't get into, guys, is that if you then call on a property and then it's 9 a.m. and you called on one property and you just go and view every property because you think it's going to help you, you're then spending half your day driving to properties instead of actually submitting offers. So it's my goal to submit offers without viewing the property, only if I talk with the agent and I give them a ballpark range where I need to come in at. And hey, if I go to the property today and check it out, are we able to get an offer in at that price? I'm verifying, I'm creating clarity that if I go to the property and verify these things, can we make that offer work? But the agent's like, no way, Jose, we're not going to make that work. I'm not going to go drive to that property. Okay. So, right, I've done a lot of properties across the nation, even here in San Diego County. I didn't see before I put it under contract, and that's going to save a lot of time. Where do you get your contracts from? So the beautiful thing about the MLS, guys, when we're using the MLS, working with real estate agents, they're going to use their local association of realtors contract. The agent actually writes up the contract. I'm not writing up a contract and then sending it to the agent. You will look silly in this business. How on market properties work is that agent actually writes up the contract. So we contact them, they write the contract, they supply you with the form, they tell you where to fill it out, and then you send it back to them. For off-market contracts too, we have free ones online at realestateskills.com/contracts if you want to see the examples that we use. All right. Those are the questions. Yeah.
Fantastic. In this, yes, that's it from Alex's end. Before we sign off, I just wanted to mention again, New Silver Lending. We're a private lender for fix and flip, ground up construction transactions, which are value add rehab bridge loans for 1 to 4 unit properties across 40 states. So, if you're using Alex's tactics and, looking to finance these deals quickly, you can get in contact with me at joe@newsilver.com. Happy to set up a call or email back and forth with some potential loan scenarios. And, we're happy to work with you on, your future transactions. As Carmela just mentioned in the chat, we're going to disseminate to everybody in the webinar who's registered a link to the video so you can rewatch this and go through some previous slides that you may have missed if you came in late. But we really appreciate everybody joining us for the webinar today. Alex, can't say how much we appreciate you coming on and sharing your ways to find profitable flips this year and in the future with us and our community, and looking forward to financing some of your and potential new students' deals.
Yeah, Joe, thanks so much for having me. There's nothing I love more than helping people do deals. It's real estate changed my life, and really this system changed my life. And it's, it brings income in other ways, wholesaling, flipping, investing in the rental properties. And lastly, guys, having a great financier, having a great hard money lending company is essential to your fix and flip business. So definitely talk to Joe. Definitely introduce yourself. Definitely build a relationship. You don't want to be the fix and flipper who loses out on deals because you don't have your financing lined up. So, New Silver goes above and beyond holding, online events like these. And you want to work with people who you like and trust. And I definitely trust New Silver. So definitely get in contact with Joe, get that financing lined up, and let's get rocking.
Yes, exactly right. And obviously, realestateskills.com is a great way to, get more integrated in the wholesaling and flipping business, and, really, expanding your business and growing in the space. So Alex, thanks so much again for sharing your tips for success with us. And thanks for joining, everybody.
Of course. See you guys. Have a great day.